This is All Things Caregiving from Breathing Spaces.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cindy Mariner. I'm the founder of Breathing Spaces. Welcome to another episode of All Things Caregiving. I'm here today with my co-host, Cindy Gum.
Hi, good to be
Always a
here. Thanks.
pleasure.
Yes.
And I am really excited today. I have found a friend and someone who is doing something absolutely amazing right here in my little small town of Ramona, California. Elizabeth Schmidt is here with us today. Elizabeth
Oh,
Elizabeth has started her company Straight from the Heart, and it is an absolute pleasure. Elizabeth, I found you when I was kind of fumbling through Facebooks, found a group, the Chamber of Commerce here, and saw what you did, and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to talk to this woman. And we had the opportunity to meet in person, which is always fun to do. So, Elizabeth, please give us an idea of what your company does, why you started this. Give us a little story, background story.
well, my company, Straight from the Heart Patient Advocacy, is for me to be a patient advocate, which a lot of people aren't familiar with. I like to say the simple explanation is that it's kind of like a personal assistant for medical care and an advocate to make sure that my clients' needs and wishes are heard and listened to by the public. It was kind of a long journey to get here. I have my own health problems. I got gaslit by a doctor for was 6 to 8 years for saying I didn't have fibromyalgia. I got my therapeutic massage therapist said, your body feels just like my people who have diagnosed fibromyalgia. I think you should bring it up with your doctor. And I was in a lot of pain, and we are running a lot of tests. And my doctor was kind of just telling me to live with it, and nothing really ever came back clear. And so I brought it up to my doctor, and she literally said, "You're not enough pain." Well, when we get down the road 68 years later, and I have a new doctor, and I'm bringing it up, I'm like, I'm trying these exercises. I'm, taking the supplements you recommended. And I was like, but I still just hurt. I got sent to a rheumatologist, and she was like, yeah, you have fibromyalgia. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I mean, if we can't cure it, but we can treat it. And now I know I wasn't crazy. And then I had some other health issues that happened. And then my uncle passed away due to medical mistakes. And we can do better. Everybody deserves better than this ring around the rosy that you have to run a lot in medical care and how long it takes and how many steps there are. It just doesn't really make sense. Um, so as things do, life changes, and I decided now is a good time to try to pursue this. So I started, taking classes to fill in areas that I'm not familiar with. Took a class on how to start my own business, and started my business. And so now I help people every day. Sometimes it's something really simple where their work does not allow them to be by their cell phone, so they can't make doctor's appointments or, call their doctors to get, refills and stuff like that, to something as significant as, advocating for a client who has congestive heart failure and needs to get in to see a specialist ASAP, or sitting beside somebody's hospital bed to provide comfort and help prevent medical mistakes. So it's a very wide range. And I really love that the feedback I've gotten from a lot of my clients is they appreciate me how much I take the time to explain. Um, the doctor might say, okay, do this, wear this, try the supplement, but they don't really take the time to explain why. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, your doctor ordered this test, so here's the reasoning behind the test. This is what they're looking for. And depending on what they find, it could be a new investigation route, a new avenue of treatment for your symptoms. And it's a really nice relief for people to actually understand what's going on with their health care instead of just being told to. So those are
Absolutely.
key things that I, in my advocacy, focus on.
It's Elizabeth, Cindy and I just did a taping of my my journey, which you knew a little bit about with the Mohs surgery on my head, and talking about how even, I mean, that was not life shaking. I mean, it was life shaking, but it wasn't, major heart issues, et cetera, et cetera. But it was, I didn't have that straight doctor conversation of here's exactly what's going on, here's exactly what's going to happen. And I can only imagine how complicated that can get once you get a symptom that a health condition that is that much more difficult. Even when my mom was in the hospital, right? Cindy, you did this with your husband. You have to be the one that's the squeaky wheel in the room saying, hello, not making sense here, folks. Let's try to straighten it out. So having you on someone's side, I can only imagine what a gift that is.
Yeah, and I can also be the shield by being the squeaky wheel. So you don't have to be that person, but I can be the one that's like, excuse me, they specifically said they didn't want this. So that you don't have to worry about, your doctor not being happy with you. They can be unhappy with me. That's my job is, to protect the client's wishes. So
Well, and the understanding too, right?
yeah.
Because there's so much complication, especially when you tiptoe into the insurance world or what do you mean I can't do this with my coverage? Blah, blah, blah. That gets so complicated.
Yep. And then most people don't realize there's so many billing mistakes. So advocates always say don't pay a bill the first time. Take a look at it, make sure it actually makes sense. Um, and I had that happen with myself recently. I had a bill. They sub-billed it through a different clinic system that the clinic was part of, which is out of network. But what I booked through was in network, and the doctor I saw and the location I went to was in network. So it showed that I owed $185 when it should actually be like $8. And so I called up my insurance company and I put an appeal in, and it's going through the process.
Elizabeth, you said something interesting on that note. We can do better. I love what you said and the way you said it. We can do better. And it sounds like you're helping people it's almost like you're a navigator. I'm hearing a lot of navigation here.
That is one of the common terms that patient advocates are called as a clinical navigator. Yep, we're helping people find the way. And, no matter how small your health issue is, when everything is out of your control, that's a huge sense of free fall for anyone. And it just gets worse as the condition gets more severe. So what we're trying to do is give patients, our clients and the patients in the system, peace of mind. We
Yeah.
want them to feel safe and secure and know that they're getting what they want and what they need.
You also made another comment about your experience, and I I know I'm not crazy now, right? And
Yeah.
I was just thinking, people that are navigating things like fibrom, these chronic issues, they need a lot of validation that you would really understand. I don't know, but do you find yourself in that position quite a bit?
Yeah, actually, a number of my clients are actually have complex or chronic disease. And, I tell them, want you to take a deep breath. You're not doing this alone now, but I want you to remember this is not your fault. You can do every single thing right with your health, still end up here. There's just a system of genetics and biology that we don't have the solutions to fix yet. And you do the best you do every day and celebrate your little wins. If you're having a bad day and you manage to get out of bed and shower, that is a win.
Yeah.
When you're severely energy limited and you're in a lot of chronic pain, small wins are important. And I tell everybody to be kind to themselves. Um, I think a lot of times we're our own worst critics because remember where we used to be, the body we used to have, what it could do. And the thing is, you have to adjust. You have to remember that you're in a new body now, essentially. And the way it functions and what it's capable of is completely completely different. So don't hold yourself to these old standards. Figure out where you are now and what you're capable of, and be happy when you can do good things and have a great day. Because just being able to have a good day and even go out just with friends to get a coffee or a meal or something for chronic illness can be a huge win. And all those things are worth celebrating.
Yeah, chronic pain takes a lot of energy, is what I'm hearing. And we don't tend to validate that kind of energy being sucked out of us because we think of energy as, when we're physical, but pain takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it does. And if you just start thinking about all the little things you do every day, cleaning up around the house as you go, doing big things like the laundry and the folding, sweeping, mopping, vacuuming. These are really big energy intensive activities. So for people with chronic illness, that becomes planned activity. And it's a whole different way of, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And you, in the very beginning, you spoke about your own journey, with the fibromyalgia and a doctor, patting, I just saw it. This is what I saw, patting you on the head saying, "No, dear, there's nothing wrong." That fires me up more than anything else.
Yeah.
Please, I know this is my body. I know that there's something going on here, and I do not want a pat on the head.
Honestly, from the cases I've heard from personally and from what I have heard from other patient advocates and the ones I read about, your body, when something's wrong. The majority of the time, when you feel like something is wrong, something is wrong. And it is really important that we are confident. And it's okay for doctors also to remember that they can say, I don't know what's wrong. I can't figure it out. This is
Yes.
beyond me. Um, some doctors don't want to say that at all, but that's okay to say. And then patient advocacy is also really big on shared decision making, which essentially says, the doctor says, this is what I recommend. This is why. The patient's like, well, this is what I want. This is why. And then it's a conversation. So maybe the doctor recommends a really heavy chemo regimen for someone with cancer. And the client says, hey, I'm 75. I don't want to spend a year going through nasty chemo. And who knows anyways how long my life is, but I want to enjoy the years. Okay, so what can we do to give more quality time? What kind of treatment can extend life in a meaningful way? Um, so a doctor being able to say, I don't know, and the patient can be like, okay, so what do you recommend that we try next, or who should I see next? Those are the great conversations that happen with really, really good physicians.
Mm.
And unfortunately are not the norm. It's getting better, especially with a lot of doctors that are just coming into the field. They're much more open to that shared decision making
Mhm.
type.
Yeah. And I wonder too, I've always been a little bit more of a naturalistic type of health human being. Trust me, I love my doctors. I love my doctors, regular doctors, but they also know that I'm looking the other way most of the time. So, and they go with me on that journey, because I try to do things as naturalistic as I can, whether it's supplemental or I work with an integrative health doctor who has cured me of things that no one else could.
Yeah.
No one else could. They were running in circles, dog after his tail, nothing. She fixed it. So do I didn't mean to put you on the spot like this, but do you advocate for that as well?
So the thing that is important is what the client wishes. So if they say, I want a balance between Western medicine and a natural route, that's what I do. I don't tell them one is better than the other because that's not my decision to make. I'm not here to make decisions. I'm here as kind of like a project manager, chief of staff, or a facilitator.
Right.
I help. It means, okay, I'll find out who are the top, naturopath, functional medicine, DO doctors. help get you in there, help you find supplements, research the companies if you want to find out which ones have the best rated supplements doctor recommends. But patient advocacy is no judgment space. I don't have to agree with my client's choice. I don't make recommendations. I give them options and then help them fulfill what they choose.
I love to hear that. It makes me so happy to hear that. I love the way that you said you're not making choices for them. You're following their desires. But I'm also sure that if you see them running off the side of the road, that you might say, you might want to come back.
Yeah, I kind of say, just so you're aware, you know, you're going through this procedure because you're concerned that this symptom is coming from this. However, that appointment we just had with your primary care doctor believes that symptom is coming from that. So keep that in mind on whether you want to pursue this other pathway while your primary care doctor is trying to treat it in another way, and decide what you want to do, just to be aware.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Making decisions is hard. And I think what I'm hearing, Elizabeth, is that you're not alone in making decisions, which is sometimes what we feel, that
Mhm.
we are alone in making a decision. And those are hard to
Yeah,
be alone. They kind of put it back into our lap now. I've always wondered, is that because of liability? Partly, probably.
yeah.
So we're asked to make decisions that we're really not that educated or we don't understand well, or maybe there isn't a lot of, it's not black and white. It's just
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
And that's my job, is to get you that
Right.
information so you understand. And then if you're having trouble deciding, circle back to what were the most important things to you originally. Are those still the most important? Okay,
Mhm.
so then this pathway is going to emphasize those wishes more than if you go into this other treatment direction.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for your hard work on patients' behalf, because we need that. We need more people to help. And also, I love what you said. It's part of our mantra at Breathing Spaces, which is you're not alone.
Yeah.
We need to know that. Yeah. We
Yeah.
need we need each other.
Mhm. And
absolutely.
honestly, most patient advocates get into it because either they or a close family member had negative experiences and
Yeah.
they want to ease the
Sure.
way for other people.
Well, thank you.
I think you should all be as a sign on the door going in and out of hospitals. Here, this is, you need to do this first before you go in through the glass doors, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it can be hard too because we're also navigating a system that we all know is broken and is not well set up. And
Yeah.
so sometimes there are no good choices.
Yeah.
And so we do the best that we can within
Yes.
what we can do.
Yeah.
We're not magic makers. You're not suddenly going to have someone. This came up in a meeting I was in yesterday. This one advocate knows, in the LA area, a lot of specialists for chronic diseases. But a lot of her clients think that she can wave a little magic wand and get them in. And she's like, no, I can get you on their wait list, but their next available appointment is still in a year. I can't get you in today, tomorrow, or next month. But can I call up and get you in there so that you have an appointment set up? Yes. Um, but yeah, there's definitely people on certain things that we know shortcuts and we know specific things to look for. So it can seem like we have a magic wand, but at the end of the day, it's just experience, knowledge, and patient advocacy is collaborative. It's not really competitive between advocates. So it's very common for us to reach out to each other and say, hey, I hit this roadblock. Do you have an idea? Because I know that you work in this area.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you exist in the world, that what you do is out there, because I think there's so many situations that people get into that are so difficult that they can't, especially when you get some of these really large, illnesses that come in. It's you can't see because you're in fear, you're in fight or flight.
Yeah.
You can't see past what's right in front of you. So I hope that more people after seeing this episode will reach out to you, reach out to others, in their areas, because I feel like you're the support that's needed in so many cases.
Well, how do we get a hold of you,
Yes,
Elizabeth?
please. Thank you for that.
How can we help you?
So they can email me, Elizabeth at straightfromtheheartpa.com. Call me 442-777-3251 or text me. Also, there are numerous patient advocate directories. You can, if you have a very specific need, you can look up an advocate that specializes in that area. So there is Umbra, there is the NAHAC, there is I know there's a bunch more that I'm forgetting, but all you have to do is like Google patient advocate directory, and those companies will all show up. And those are different companies we can advocacies that we can be in their membership directory. And usually it's because they also additionally offer for that membership fee additional training and collaborative spaces and stuff.
So your advocacy relationship is mostly on Zoom, so they could be anywhere, correct?
Yeah, I have clients here in California. I have one that's probably about a half-hour drive down in San Diego. I have one in New York, one in Washington, D.C., one in here in Ramona, and just a bunch of other places in
Great.
between. So most of it is done online, but we can do in-person services as well.
Great to know.
Yeah, that's great. Elizabeth, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Again, I honor you for all that you do in the world. You're an angel. There's no question about that. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to keeping in touch, of course. You can also find Elizabeth on our website under our care partners. We've added Elizabeth as a care partner. And of course, reach out if you have any questions that we can help you with. Thank you both. Cindy, always a pleasure to be with you. And Elizabeth, I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been All Things Caregiving from Breathing Spaces.